Okay, get yourself ready for your restorative practice. So have an extra blanket on top of your usual mat if you can, just to give you a little extra comfort. And
is your mic on there, Mike?
No, it's not. Thank you for pointing that out. Let me just switch that on. Thanks. You should be able to hear me now. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay, great. Okay, so get yourself ready. Have a blanket. So have a blanket on top of your mat, with a bolster for underneath your knees, a couple of blocks for your feet, and then a folded blanket for underneath your head. Just make sure it's well folded. So sometimes the blankets get a little kind of haphazard, don't they, after we fold them in different ways. So just make sure it's evenly folded from underneath your head. And then just lay yourself down onto the floor, cover yourself with warmth. So warmth, comfort, and darkness is the aim of the game. So take your glasses off if you can. If you feel like you might be cold, just cover yourself up with a blanket, and then just allow yourself to release into the floor. I always find these first couple of minutes of just laying back down on the floor really blissful. Just this opportunity to finally let go into the floor after a day of work. Focus on long, slow, deep, deliberate inhalations and exhalations. Cover your eyes if you can. Something with a little weight. It's good for quietening the brain. And just allow your body to release into the floor. Focusing on long, slow, deep, deliberate in-breaths and long, slow, deep, deliberate out-breaths. Just feel how the body spreads out across the floor. How that affects the front of the chest. Just allow the physical body to become heavy. Unhooking the muscles of the legs and the arms. Just scan your body for areas of discomfort. And push your out breath into areas of discomfort. And adjust if you need to. Never feeling as though you can't move within the pose, just allow yourself to release. Just observe how the body connects to the ground, and the blanket, the folded blanket underneath your head, and the bolster underneath your knees, the blocks underneath your feet. Just spend a few moments to acknowledge the positive energy that comes from giving yourself the opportunity to relax. Draw your attention into the soles of your feet, so that the soles of your feet begin to tingle with consciousness and awareness. Spend a little time observing the soles of the feet, so that the skin begins to tingle with consciousness. Drawing your attention into the soles of your feet and then consciously relaxing the skin and the flesh and the muscle and the bones of the sole of the foot. Just allowing the sole of the foot to completely relax. Consciously relaxing the soles of the feet. So without being in a rush, just enjoy the privilege of time to relax. Draw your focus into the tops of your feet. So again, the skin tingles with consciousness. Become conscious of the feeling of the skin and the flesh and the muscle and the bones and the ligaments of the top of the foot. And then consciously relax the skin and the muscle and the bones of the top of the foot. And then draw your attention into your shins. Consciously relaxing the tops of the feet, and then allowing your consciousness to draw into your shins. Consciously relaxing the shins into the bed of the calf muscle. And then with an exhalation, allow the shins to sink into the bed of the calf muscle. Relaxing the shins into the calf muscles, and then relaxing around the kneecaps, letting the kneecaps completely let go. And then drawing your attention into your thighs, the fronts of your thighs. Allowing the shins to sink into the calf muscles, the kneecaps to soften, and allow the fronts of the thighs to sink into the backs of the thighs. Just becoming conscious of the role that the thighs play in relaxing the legs. Allowing the fronts of the thighs to sink into the backs of the thighs. Allowing the hips to soften and relax, allowing the legs to just sink into the floor. Draw your focus into the pelvis and the abdomen, using your out breath to soften the ligaments and to release into the floor. And with an exhalation, soften the pelvis and the abdomen. Soften the diaphragm region. Soften around the chest. Allowing the chest to let go of the muscles. Allowing the chest to become heavy on the floor. Draw your focus into your shoulders and your arms. Consciously draw your focus into your arms from your shoulders, into the upper arms, letting go of the muscles of the arms, down into the forearms, and then down into the palms of the hands. With each inhalation, inflate the arms with positive energy of the breath, and then allow your arms to completely let go into the floor. Allow the muscles of the upper arms to sink into the shoulders, letting go of the muscles of the forearms and the palms. Palms facing up to the ceiling, letting the fingers completely relax. And then allow your arms to completely unhook, and then allow them to just completely rest into the floor. Relaxing the upper arms and the forearms and the wrists and the palms, just allowing the body to release into the floor. This is a really brilliant opportunity to replenish your energy. just enjoying the luxury of relaxation, just the opportunity to let the body replenish its energy through these restorative poses. Draw your attention into your neck and your skull, consciously observing areas of the skull that are tense or full of negative energy. And let that energy dissipate into the ether, into the physical body. Soften your muscles around your neck. Soften the skin around your skull and allow the skin to stretch down towards the neck. Focusing on long, slow, deep, deliberate breaths, bringing energy into the physical body so that the physical body feels like it's light from the tips of the toes to the top of the chest. Okay, when you're ready to disturb yourself, just wriggle your toes, wriggle your fingers, just remove the covering from your eyes, and then just bend your knees. Have your feet on your bolster for a moment, feet apart, the knees together, just resting your back into the floor. And then when you're ready, just gently roll onto your side. And then sit yourself up, stretch the top leg, and then come up into cross legs. Just observe that lightness of energy that just comes from half an hour of laying down on the ground. That lightness of energy. Okay, so just move. So keep the bolster where it is for underneath your knees. We're going to do a little bit of back stretching. This is really nice. So just get your blanket and unfold it to this kind of long kind of eighth fold like that. And then you're just going to make sure, again, it's kind of evenly folded, and then fold it down the middle, and then fold it down the middle again. So you've got this little narrow bolster. So this is going to go in your back. So if you've got kind of chunky hem on the blanket, have that at the head end, so it's not going to stick into your back. And then you're just going to come down. So you're not sitting on the blanket of this, the folded blanket at this stage. You've got the bolster underneath your knees, and then you're just going to guide yourself along that ridge of folded blanket, and then you get the end of the blanket, and then you roll it up into a little cushion, and then you just adjust the position of the bolster underneath your knees so that you get this sensation of elongation of the spine. It's a really nice, energizing feeling. So you might have to come in and out of the pose a little. I feel like that's kind of sticking in my lower back a little bit too much. So you just adjust until the pose feels comfortable, and so that you're going to be able to stay. So you just lengthen yourself along the little folded blanket, and then just experiment with where you place the bolster underneath your knees. I always find the tops of the calves is a good way to activate this feeling of elongation in the spine. And then just allow yourself to release down into the mat. So, as is customary for restorative yoga, as we go more further into the sequence, I'll speak less and less so that you're able to relax rather than having to listen. So give yourself permission to relax and release. Okay, when you're ready to begin to disturb yourself, just wriggle your toes, wriggle your fingers. Just push your elbows into the floor and then just bring yourself up into a seated position. Just come up into cross legs. Just feel how the spine maybe feels long and energized. Just listening to the sound of the breath. Okay, we're going to do a couple of child pose type poses. So just unfold your blanket and then have that just as a kind of a pillow shape, and then have a bolster you can just stretch along. If you've got two bolsters, then all the better. So being higher up is better if you can be higher up. So if you've got two bolsters, give yourself a good platform to come across. If you haven't got two bolsters, then maybe you could just use a bolster and a couple of blocks and just lay them on there, just so that you've got a little more height. Obviously, if you don't have a bolster at all, then use some cushions and some folded blankets. Just give yourself a platform that's relatively high. Give yourself some comfort for your feet, so just keep your feet covered, and then lift the chest as you stretch your spine along the bolster, and then just rest your head on one side. The higher up you are, the more likely that your elbows just rest down. Maybe they don't even reach the floor. If your elbows are on the floor, have them wide enough apart so that you're not supporting your weight with your elbows. You're just draping yourself over the bolster. So rest your head on one side, and then as we stay, you're just going to rest on one side and then the other of the face. Just rest into the pose. So maybe you can feel that length of the spine after the last pose. So after you've been there for a little while, just turn your head so that you rest on the other side, just to give your neck an even stretch. So just swapping your head from one side to the other, just every now and then, just to give yourself a good stretch of the neck on both sides. Just one more swap. Okay, and then when you're ready, just push yourself up into a seated position. Just sit back on your heels for a moment and then just lift up into the chest, observing your energy. Observing the energy around the abdomen and the chest, around the shoulders. And then we're just going to go back to one bolster and do a little bridge pose. So get your blanket and unfold it so that it's this quarter fold like this. And then just roll the end up so that you've got a little kind of Swiss roll for your neck. And then you're just going to come down onto the floor, have your head and your neck supported by your little Swiss roll, and then just lift up the seat bones and then guide the bolster underneath the small of the back, and then just rest down into the floor. So a little gentle inversion, just adjust until you feel comfortable. And then release into the floor. So the support under the neck just helps to quieten stiff neck. Okay, when you're ready, just stay on the floor, but lift the seat bone, slide the bolster just so that it's underneath your knees. You can stay with the folded blanket, the rolled up blanket underneath your neck. Just allow yourself to gently release into the floor. Just feeling that you can let the body rest into the ground, unhooking the muscles further, releasing the muscles of the arms and the legs so that the body becomes heavy on the floor. And observe that feeling of genuine energetic lightness that radiates out from the bones and into the muscles, into the organs, into the flesh and the skin, that feeling of energetic lightness, that healing positive energy. Use your in-breath and your out-breath to distribute that feeling of positive lightness down into the tips of the toes, into the tips of the fingers, into the top of the head. Basking in that feeling of energetic lightness, good positive energy. And then gently wriggle your toes, wriggle your fingers, just bring yourself back into this pose of Shavasana. Bring your feet onto the bolster, feet apart, knees together, just rest your back into the floor. And then draw your knees in towards your chest. Just have a little rock from side to side, from top to bottom, just a gentle massage on the spine. And then gently roll onto your right side. Just stay down for a breath or two. And then stretch out the top leg, come back up into a seated position. Just final cross legs with your hands in Namaste, just a final spinal lift. Draw your breath in through your nose, lifting the chest up to the ceiling. Draw the breath in through the nose and down into the abdomen. Be conscious of the energy that you have released through your practice. Good, positive, healthy flow of clean energy that the relaxation poses bring to the body and to the mind. And then draw your chin down to meet your chest. Spend a moment to acknowledge the positive energy you have created inside. And then send some of that positive energy out into the world. And then release the backs of your hands down toward your knees, palms facing upwards. And as you raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open and the focus to softly come back. Thank you very much. So hopefully you feel as though you really transformed your energy, giving yourself lots of good positive energy to put into your evening, and it should help you to sleep later on as well. So thank you very much for joining me. Thank you.